All right, you may have noticed the lighting's changed on my face. We're going to hop into iClone and do some AccuFace capture. But before we do that, I'm going to set up our character creator scene. So again, we're in character creator right now. I don't need the axe for where we're going, so I'm going to delete this out of our scene here. And I'm going to send this over to iClone. We're going to do some quick Rokoko mocap that I captured to iClone, drop it in on our character here, do some retargeting, do some facial capture animation, just to kind of give you a brief overview. And I'm not an expert at any of this stuff. I'm just kind of, I watched some videos. I figured I'd show you how easy it is to kind of step into that ecosystem. And maybe that'll whet our appetites to continue further into that direction. So just really quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our character here that's, you know, can animate and walk. He's all set up. We're going to go in here to File, Export, and say, Send to iClone, All. All right, so that opened up our character in iClone, and you'll see if you're familiar with Character Creator, iClone isn't a whole lot different. You got your scene over here. We have our character over here with all the character parts in it, and our content folder, etc. So we'll go ahead and walk through how to get some animation from Rokoko into here, and then we'll do some retargeting. So I'm going to hop into Rokoko Studio. I've already got a clip loaded up, so this is a clip that I captured. I can kind of scrub through it, and it's just me, you know, walking around. Actually, it's a little bit longer than this. I can drag this back. So it's me testing out my facial capture, testing out my finger capture, testing out my body capture here. I'm only going to take a section of this, so we'll say maybe up here as I scrub through. As I'm turning, we'll go through here. I'll tap my tummy, I'll tap my head, I'll clap my hands, do some finger guns, and then we're out. So with this portion of our animation selected, we're going to export this as an FBX with a Mixamo preset. I think everything else looks fine here. Start time of the clip is 0. Include reference pose checked on, so we'll say export clips. I'm going to open that folder, and I'm going to rename this iClone test. I'm going to drop this on my desktop. And then we'll hop over into iClone. And then from my desktop, I'm just going to drop that iClone test onto my character here. So as I hover over the character, you'll see there's a square bounding box around him. Go ahead and drop them on there. We're going to choose our motion profile as motion builder. The motion T-pose, we're just going to reload in that iClone test that we dropped in here. 60 frames, we'll drop that down to 30 frames a second. Everything else looks fine. We'll say convert all. And what that's going to allow us to do is go through here and bring in our animation file. So as our character is moving around, we can add facial animation to this character. But first, we're going to retarget some of this character. So if I scroll down, actually, let's do this. Let's go in here to Window, Workspace, choose All Panels. And then we don't need the curve editor for this. And so now I have everything set up. I have my character in here, and we also have the iClone test underneath this motion section in my time slider here. So as I scrub through, you'll see we have some motion we need to change. So one really fun, easy way we can do is make some big overall changes. So if I right-click this motion layer and we choose Motion Modifier, that'll bring up a window where we can do kind of some broad strokes changes. I'm going to hit this preview button, and then it's going to say press space key to preview, hold down this, or press the space bar, and that'll just cycle through the animation. So while it's doing that, what I'm able to do with the overall animation is I can exaggerate the upper body, exaggerate the lower body. I can even lock the lower body if I want. Here we have some leans and some necks and some head backs. You'll see I'm kind of looking down, you know, because I actually have the facial capture down here. So what I can do is I can go through here and I can, you know, move the head back a little bit. So I'm looking more upwards, you know, so that's an easy change to make. You also notice here on shoulders down, if I crank this to the right, he'll constantly be like shoulders up, like he's shrugging. And then as I drop this down, it's more of a natural pose this way. So I'm going to drop those shoulders just a bit. Lower elbows here. Here's elbows out. You know, here's elbows in. So I'm going to find a nice natural position for the elbows here. Out a little bit, it's looking good. And then elbow in, you know, here they are kind of truncated inwards. And then elbow out's a little bit too far, but it's actually not too bad. Yeah, I think this will work fine. So these are our broad strokes changes that we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and hit spacebar to stop that, hit OK. And now, when I play through the animation, he's a little bit more natural looking. His head's up, but we still got to fix some stuff. You can see the hands, because again, I'm different proportions than this character is. So the hands aren't going to just exactly match up for my mocap suit. Now, I am going to stop this animation here at like frame 1. Let me see here. Looks like frame 354. I'm going to go in here to edit. Well, project settings are right here. I'm going to go ahead and end our timeline at 354 so it just loops there. There we go. So now let's go ahead and retarget or fix some of the hands clipping through our body. So it's actually pretty easy. As I go through here, I'm going to scrub through the timeline, and right before I enter the belly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition from the mocap data to a motion layer so I can have like an additive layer or a layer that I can change on top of the motion layer so I can fix the interpenetration on the body. So what I'm going to do is go over here to our motion tab, which should again look familiar to you if you're used to CC Character Creator, and you're going to see there's an edit motion layer. So go ahead and open that up. This brings up another familiar window. So again, all the stuff we've learned in Character Creator is absolutely applicable here in iClone. So here's the problem hand. I can either select it in here, and again, you have IK mode, FK mode, or pose mixer. I can go ahead and just select the hand in here. And with that IK controller selected, again, right before I go in and slap my belly here, I'm going to set a key about here. So I'm going to go ahead and set the key, and this is where it's going to transition from mocap data to my updated data. So I'm going to go all the way so the hand kind of interpenetrates in the belly here. I'm going to hit W on my keyboard, and we're going to move this hand out. And it will even rotate the hand a little bit so that it's a little bit more natural. And again, just kind of move this hand out so it contacts with my belly here. And you have full hand control as well. So if you want to go through here and like, grab the finger, you can go through and, pull this out, change the thumb, anything you want to do to correct this hand here. Once we're done, we can go ahead and hit set key. So as we're moving in, now when I go in and hit, it's going to stop here. Perfect. And again, if you want to change any of these keys while you're in here, go for it. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it alone. It's good enough for now. And then as I start to transition to another pose, what I can do is go ahead and say, okay, this has all been generally fixed. So as I start to pull away, I'm going to set another key. And then once I'm here and I'm transitioning, I'm going to hit reset. This is going to put it back to the mocap data. So now I'm going from fixed animation over here back to mocap data here. And we're going to do the exact same thing for the head. So as I'm going up, so here's where I'm supposed to be tapping my head. So I'm going up here. I'm going to go ahead and say set key. And now we're into the fixing data. So I'm going to go all the way up to my head here until I, tap it. So here I am all the way down. This is where I'm making contact with my skull. I'm going to hit W on my keyboard with this hand or this controller selected. We're going to move this up in space so that again I am tapping my head here. I'll go ahead and rotate my wrist a little bit. And again, if you need to change any of these, like if this is the bones are too bright or the controllers are too big, you can go into the controller settings and you can change their size and their overall opacity. Is same thing for the bones. You can change the bone size and the bone opacity if you'd like. There we can see our character a little bit better now. So again, I'm going up here on my head. I'll go ahead and with this selected say set key. So now my hand goes up, I can tap my head, and then as I start to bring it down, I'll go ahead and say set key again. And then as I'm moving away from the body, I'll hit reset. So now I'm going again from our changed animation back to our mocap. And then here's where I clap my hands together. Again, where hands aren't making contact here. So we'll go in here, and then right before, as we're going in, we'll go ahead and say, we'll do it for both hands here. We'll go ahead and say set key, and then now we're in our, here's where they should be making contact right here. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this in, and we'll move these so that they're close together and rotated like so. And then I bring the hands apart. As we're dropping down by their sides, we'll go ahead and do another set key for both of these. And then as we swing to the left, we'll reset so we're back on Mocap. So now again, we go through here, our hands will clap and make contact, and they'll fall to our sides. And then we can do finger guns. So now if we play through, we'll go ahead and close that. Tap our belly, tap our head, clap our hands together, finger guns. So now let's talk about facial animation. I'm going to go ahead and save this file here. And just while I'm testing out facial animation, I'm going to go ahead and just delete our motion out of here because I just want to focus in on the face here. And in fact, let's even, since again, we're so familiar with the content folder and the scene folder here, we can go to content. Let's go in here to stage, Lightroom here. Let's switch our lighting over here to authority. Give it some nice moody lighting while we're in here and looking at our face. In fact, let's go ahead and let's go back to our scene here. Let's grab that point light. And I'm going to hit W on my keyboard, and we're going to bring this point light down just a bit so I can see the face a little bit clearer. And I'm going to let my face control it. So let's go into plugins, Motion Live. I have a couple that I can use. I can use my iPhone with Live Face, or I can use AccuFace. I'm going to choose, let's do AccuFace. And in order to turn this on, I'm going to launch the AccuFace window. And hey, there's my face. It's actually just capturing. You can use a webcam. In fact, in AccuFace, you can even use video. We're going to be using webcam, but you can do, well, let me just talk about this real quick. And again, I'm not an expert at this. I've been playing with it for like 5 minutes. But we do have it's coming from our Cam Link source. So this is what I've been using to capture my face the whole time. You can do a tracking mode, which is static cam, which is what this camera is. It's a static camera, or you can change it to head cam if you've got one of those head tracking cameras. 1920 by 1080 is what we're using. Frame tracking at 50 frames a second is what my camera's doing. You can limit the tracking angle, so if your head moves too much, your character won't, it'll hit some certain limits so it doesn't break your character. I don't think we'll need that. There's some tracking interference. If you're having problems with like eye blinks causing weird eyebrow or mouth issues, you can turn these on. And then there's also a calibrate facial capture. Here we're in the camera section, which you can see. Here we have video. So if you want to bring in video and then capture face from the video, you can. And you can also use that. Your animators can use that to go in and dial in shapes later on, because there's a whole lot of massaging you can do with this data. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it on camera. Let's go ahead and calibrate our face. We'll say calibrate facial capture here. So I'm going to look at the face here, and I'm going to say neutral face, and I'm going to say set expression. So here's my neutral. And then we're going to do a brow raise, and then a brow drop, and then a brow inner raise. Okay, so I think we're good. I'll go ahead and close that window out. And then, so now that we have AccuFace, I have my internal IP, which should match up with this, and it looks like it does. So now I can turn this on. It'll go ahead and connect. Oh, another thing too I should do. This AccuFace, click this button right here. This will keep it window is always on top. So we can just leave this here. I'm going to leave this here, and we're going to have both of these kind of showing so you can see my face. You can see it updating his face here. In fact, we could even bring this timeline down. So we've connected AccuFace. Now we need to tell my character I'm using AccuFace. So I'm going to go down here to the face, and I'm going to say use AccuFace. All right, so now I can preview. So I'm going to hit preview, and then I'm going to hit spacebar, and you're going to see. So I'm going to look at you and move my face, and you're going to see his face update. I can't see it because I'm looking at you, but hopefully you can see that it's working, and I'm moving my head around, and I'm talking and opening my mouth and doing my eyebrows, and it should be capturing to my face. So again, while that's happening, I love seeing this, by the way. While that's happening, I can be recording this as motion to my mocap. So let's go ahead and do that now that you can see how the face thing works. So I'm going to go ahead and hit spacebar to stop previewing. And we'll go ahead and open up the file we were playing around with. So again, we have a file with animation. There's no facial animation on this guy, but while he's animating, we can record new facial animation. So again, we got AccuFace turned on and connected. Our character here, we're going to choose AccuFace. And then again, we can preview. Again, I'm trying to get my head on here at the same time. So we can preview or we can record. So I'll go ahead and we can, in fact, we can record. We can turn on audio Viseme track. It'll record from my source. You can use AccuLips optimization. There's strength and denoise and smoothing you can do. And obviously all sorts of really cool stuff you can do with this that I haven't dived into yet. Again, I've been playing with this for a very short amount of time. But hopefully this, again, this is kind of our introduction to doing some really, really cool stuff outside of Character Creator. So let's go ahead and I guess we'll just hit record, hit the space bar. And as I'm working around, I'm going to pat my belly, pat my head, clap my hands, and finger guns. So now hopefully this will work good. I mean, the face went there. We've got Visemes and AccuLips and stuff we can go. Again, I haven't touched any of this stuff, so we'll have videos on this. Also keep in mind, we haven't done any custom facial expressions. So all the facial expressions he's making are default, along with the default expression wrinkles, because we haven't gotten into face tools yet. I do want to mention, if you want to look at face tools, you can go to my live streams here, and it's this one right here, this Character Creator Face Tools and ZBrush. This is a live stream that we did where we took, you know, a default head and put Kevin's wrinkles on it, and then we made, actually, here's the 1 minute overview. So again, taking a default head, going in and sculpting a custom head, and then, you know, wrinkling up and making it all detailed and stuff, and going in there and doing custom facial wrinkle and animation stuff. So this is all stuff we're going to do in a bit, but I just wanted to give you a sneak preview, and there's a live stream on it if you want to skip ahead. So anyway, I hope you had as much. Let's move my face over here. Hope you can see how fun this is and how approachable it is, and it's not rocket science, and you can take your Character Creator character, throw it into iClone, do some cleanup, do some facial capture. Again, we haven't dived into animation just yet, but give me some time, and we'll have a little bit of fun with that, and then going into all sorts of different programs after this. So again, stick around and we'll get to those videos. And actually, before I leave, this is just too cool, so let me scoot my head over this way and we'll play this. Spacebar, and as I'm working around, I'm going to pat my belly, pat my head, clap my hands, and finger gun. All right, let me just see if I can loop this real quick. Play it. Spacebar, and as I'm working around, I'm going to pat my belly, pat my head, clap my hands, and finger gun. Spacebar, and as I'm working around, I'm going to pat my belly, pat my head, clap my hands, and finger gun. Spacebar, nice. And so anyway, yeah, that worked great. So again, once we dive in deep into all the cool, you know, massaging of this data and doing a really good job as opposed to just taking defaults and seeing what happens, I think it'll be really fun and exciting.